Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Vijetha. How are you?
Yeah, all well, always. Nice T-shirt, company branding, all sorted and ready. What's up?
Yes.
The first lesson, right? So good. So one thing that I have not done that is because it's so cold out here, man. Bangalore, it's been raining.
I heard. Yeah.
But anyway, it's so nice to be here. So nice to see you here.
Likewise. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Okay, and would really like to kickstart and thank you so much everyone for joining in the League of Extraordinary Startups, episode 28. Today it's a pleasure and delight to have someone who's a real hustler, someone who's grown a lot. Welcome, Sony, and thank you for taking the time out to bring people in. All right, and what you have been doing is a very interesting journey for the last 4 years. Okay, so without much further ado, Sony, go ahead. Let's hear about you and your company. All right?
Sure. I'll probably just share one slide, right?
Okay.
Just sums up what we have been doing and about us as well. So let me know when you're able to see this.
Yeah.
Okay, Vijetha, slide. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah, absolutely fine, boss. We can
Okay.
hear you. Yeah, please go
Okay,
ahead.
great. And you can see the screen as well, right?
Yes. All the audience has to do is to click on the screen and it becomes big, and you're there as you are also visible at the bottom. No problem. Go for it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So just wanted to talk about what we did in the last 4 years and set the context before we proceeded further. Right. We were founded in 2016 and founded by mostly Geeta and me when we started off, and then Sunil joined us. And the key thing is we were all classmates, so we knew each other for close to 30 years before we started Menerva, and that's the main thing. Friends knowing each other for 30 years, a lot of trust between us. When we started off, we did a lot of analytics services. That's how we started off. The main reason why we thought we'll do services rather than focus on products initially was to make sure that we got a lay of the land. We understood what the market wanted. And we also wanted to build the execution capability within the team. Though we had worked with companies like IBM, AT&T and all, it was one thing to lead a team of people versus building a team from scratch. So we had to be absolutely comfortable that we build a team that can execute. So the first 2 to 3 years has been focused on that, building a team, building them from scratch, handpicked, curated, and we did services for close to till about the mid of 2018, 2019, and then shifted focus from analytics services projects to building long-term products. Right, so we build SaaS products now. So far, we built 5 products. 3 of them have been for long-term clients. 2 of them we continue to support. And as of December 2019, we started working on our own products. So we have 2 products in the pipeline now. One of them is ready for beta. And the products that we are building is primarily in the banking sector with a focus on lending solutions. These are all AI/ML enabled products. Now, the reason why we picked banking, we have 2 advisors, Joe and Anish. Joe comes with around 20 years of experience in the banking side and specifically in commercial lending. He knows some of the pain points the industry is going through. And that has been a reason why we thought, when we started thinking about a product, we thought we'll come up with a niche product in a very, very specific space with not too much competition. I wouldn't say there are no competitors, but what we do today in the product, there is nothing similar in the market today. We have 28 team members now, so over the 4 years, we have grown to around 28 team members. What we have achieved over the 4 years is a proven SaaS development and delivery model. And we've been building MVPs of in-house products as well as products for our long-term clients. So that's kind of like a small backdrop. And then I think I'll stop the presentation.
Perfect, Sony. That was very crisp. And it's first of all, congratulations, 4 years and doing not too badly for yourself and for your team. I think that's what really matters. Now, team, I think let's talk about that. As a founder, as someone, I think you also have a split, right? Some of you folks are not in India, they're outside of India. So,
in the co-founding team, I'm the only one based out of India. Even the advisors are based out of, one of them is in London and the other is in the US.
US, of course. And so there will be pushes and pulls. There will be a lot of dynamics in terms of running the show. when geographically you're separated and everything. But there are some trade secrets, there are some thought processes I'm sure that you would love to share with the audience. How do you manage the situation and keep everything together growing?
Well, if you're talking about within the founding team, building, maintaining that dynamics, right? The most important factor is, like I said, the fact that we are friends first, right? So that level of trust is there. We blindly trust each other. So we know that the other person has got our back. That helps in a big way, right? So that's one part of it. The other part is, even with the advisors, we have, even though these are people known to us, and even between the co-founders, we have a agreement. So everything is written. So we made sure that we have co-founders agreement, we have agreement with advisors, detailed to what everyone's role is and what everyone is supposed to be doing. So those things we took care of in the beginning itself. And some of the things that we took care in the beginning was make sure that we had a legal representation both in the US and in India. We had a chartered accounting firm taking care of our audit here, and we have a CPA in the US, making sure that all those things, audit and statutory requirements, are taken care of. Because if we go for funding, that's probably most times what happens is people find out later that okay, there were a lot of things that you should have done from the beginning, right? So that was one thing, probably because of the 20 years of experience we had in the industry, that we knew a lot of these things, which helped. But it's always important. So anyone who is trying to start up, make sure that you have a good legal team. Even if it's an outsourced legal, you don't have to have an internal legal team. There are plenty of people who can help you within the ecosystem. Like if it's talking about Kerala Startup Mission, you have people within that ecosystem to help you. It's very important to have an audit team. And it's very important to make sure that you have all those agreements in place from the beginning. Because once you go for funding, they're going to look for all these documents, right? All the agreements between co-founders, between all sorts of parties involved with the clients.
Interesting, very interesting. So I just want to pick up a couple of pointers that you said. No, level of trust is
Right.
very critical. You have each other's back, but at the same time, everything is written down. There is nothing left to choice and chance.
Right.
And also very clearly, because of the levels of experience that you have, all the paperwork, documentation, nothing was left to choice, so that tomorrow that doesn't come and backstab you and get you into trouble. So, Sony, one thing that you also said is that if you go for funding, so that means you're trying to say that you are not looking for funding, you're bootstrapped, and you guys are managing on customer money. How does it work?
So we are bootstrapped right now, but we have raised 2 friends and family round.
Of course, of
One
course.
of our advisors have invested in the company.
Okay.
We also
Yes.
had another friend invest in the company. So
Okay.
that's kind of what we had going so far. So within the friends and family round and the revenue that we are generating from services, we've been able to manage ourselves, grow the team,
Okay.
reach to this point where half the team is actually working on products, right? So
All right.
it's
No,
been
that's
going
interesting.
on so far, but to take the product to market, we have to raise funding. So we are in the process of doing that.
Okay.
We recently got selected to accelerator in the US.
Okay. Very
Very
nice.
recently. So
Okay.
that's exciting because one of the primary focus of that accelerator is to help companies who are looking to raise funds and also to build strategic partnership and the like. Vijetha, I'm not sure if it's my network. Okay, great. Thank you, Thompson. But I think there is some issue at Vijetha's end. I think one of the big challenges that everyone faces today is while we continue to work from home, there are these infrastructure related challenges that we are all running into. And we have learned to live with it. Fortunately, the clients are also very understanding because not everyone has access to high speed internet or a lease line while working from home. And while we wait for Vijetha, I'm actually in a hospital right now, so I'm technically working from a hospital. Nothing major, just coming here for some sort of Ayurveda therapy. Thompson, I'm not sure if this is the right time, but since we are waiting for Vijetha, I'll probably just take that question. Accelerator program not demand a few things that maybe would make you lose focus. It depends on how we. So we have one co-founder who's actually focused on that. The rest of them are focused on the services and products. Fortunately, there are 3 of us, so I am mostly focused on the accelerator, and it does not require my full-time focus. So that's one key thing. And we have also built a second rung of leadership within the company. 50% or more, I think close to 55% of the early team, they have stock options. I'm still, I've just gone off video. Thompson, as far as the stock options are concerned, it's actually for the Indian side right now, but we have a binding agreement between the Indian entity and the US entity. And we may have to go for a restructuring when we go for funding, because what we have is an LLC, and most of the funds look for the C Corp. So there is that side that's left still. And I think we'll get to that when we could get to that bridge. Sure, Sujit. The accelerator is called, I'll just name the accelerator here. It's called New Chip Accelerator. Right? And in terms of their actions and expectations, basically they have, they require everyone to be available around, I think 8 to 10 hours. I think it's 4 hours a week that they expect, because you'll have some course curriculum to go through. There are also a lot of activities that you have to do as part of that. But beyond that, it's making sure that you are on top of things. You make those connections with the investors. You make those connections using whatever features are available. You spend enough time with your mentors and attend a lot of those key programs. Yes, I think what we will, what we have been doing so far is engage with the experts. So we engage with consultants, be it for legal matters or for audit or any of those purposes. So when it comes to the point of making sure that we do the structuring and all that, I think we'll just engage the experts. There will still be a lot of the founders' bandwidth that will go towards it, and there'll be cost also involved. We believe it's part of the game. So hi Jagat, is Vijetha still having issues? Hi Vijetha.
Sorry, I'm back. I don't know what happened.
No problem, no problem. I kept the team, I kept the audience
You're the
engaged.
best, buddy. That's why I love you for that. Okay. So if I'm repeating something, I'm sorry about that. So guys,
No problem, no
yeah.
problem.
So let's talk about something. When you were saying about the team, you've
Right.
given ESOPs to your team, and that's something very generous, isn't it? So they have skin in the game,
They
and
have skin in the game. I think we can look at it two ways.
okay,
One is whether you want to keep all of it to yourself and have the team probably on just like a payroll kind of thing. But I think getting them to be part owners creates that sense of accountability. And we have seen that within the team, right?
okay,
And that's one of the reasons why the founding team is able to focus on all these other things, making sure that because the team is there, they will deliver. And we have
all right,
delivered some of the largest projects during this lockdown, right?
okay,
Or during the period of COVID, working remotely.
all
So
right,
we have full confidence in the team. We still spend a lot of time with the team, but not necessary to the level that we have to micromanage. We have never done that.
interesting.
But we make sure that we spend enough time with the clients. So
Okay,
because that's one key thing you have to do.
yeah. Ultimately, customers do matter. I mean, no, I mean, having a great team is important, and
Yeah.
you give them all the backing, all the training that is possible, motivation, and then they take care of the customers. Awesome. I just love this, Sony, because sometimes we forget about that, isn't it? That customer pays money, and we must take.
Listen to them. I think most of the time, when they talk about pain points that they have,
Ah,
sometimes it may be very trivial, but the trivial things will become major things in no time.
okay.
Right?
So I'm
As
just
long as you pay attention to those problems,
okay.
you're in good shape. And they also know that you have their best interest at heart.
Alrighty. So I written that the customer is key. Listen to them. The small things matter, and you should have. They should feel and they should trust you that you had their interests in
Right.
mind. Beautiful.
So we have a call with them pretty much. It's like every alternate day we have a call with
Okay.
them. So
Okay. Yeah.
we make sure that there is a very close communication channel.
So only one question, right? How do you define your product and service? Like, I mean, is it something that I mean, if you had to give it in say a 45-second nutshell, how would you do that?
Both of them are related. I mean, in terms of product or service that we are building, they're all SaaS,
Hmm.
and they are all something to do with analytics. So we
Okay.
build AI-enabled products, right?
Okay.
Whether we build it for ourselves or for the client, it's the same thing. Now, building these kind of products for the client actually has helped us build that capability with and before we started our product journey, right? Because a lot of things that we learned during that time.
Okay, very interesting. So some of the things, Sony, that would have come out in the last, say, 7 or 8 months, if you
Right.
can bullet point it, some of the learnings, good and bad, some of the changes or pivots that you all did in the way you all dealt with people, how did that work for you?
So when even before the government actually announced the lockdown,
Hmm.
we went into a work from home mode because
Oh,
we knew what was coming. We were
oh,
seeing Europe, what was
okay,
going on there.
yeah,
So even before that, everyone had laptops. So
hmm.
to begin with, we made sure that, and that was from the beginning, everyone had laptops because most of them had that flexibility to go back and work from home.
Hmm.
Right. So that was not an issue at all. So they were all equipped to work from home. We just took the step of working from home even before the lockdown was
Hmm.
announced.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we knew that some of them had technical challenges just because of some of them come from remote areas.
Okay,
But the way we work is we have weekly sprints for any project that we do. It's weekly sprints, and we have a touch point with the team every day. And it's just at a very high level. The team leaders actually make sure that we are on target with all the things that we have set out to. And for us, it's just making sure at the end of the day that okay, if there is a risk, if we're falling behind, what's a catch-up plan? And team usually just catches over the weekend if we actually get to that state. But it has never happened. Like we said, we delivered some of the largest projects during this phase
amazing.
on time.
Okay. So, one question that I can't ask on this is because you told me that you don't really read too much.
Yeah.
Okay. But, but Sony, see, as a
My
founder,
partners read, so
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like I don't think everyone needs to read. I'm not a reading kind of person,
Okay.
but I can synthesize information. So
All right.
we have these small chat sessions where the key point is passed across, and that's probably all I need.
Yeah, that's all you need to, make things move forward. Okay, great. Sorry, so what are the other? I know remote tools are there, video tools are there. Remote sales is there. So productivity tools and ability
So in
to
terms
still
of,
get done. How do you do it?
sure. So in terms of working with clients, right? Let me talk about how we deal with the clients first, right? We have an open WhatsApp channel with the clients.
Okay, okay,
We have them on Slack,
all right.
and we have them on our mobile. So they call us on our mobile, we call them on our mobile if it comes to that, So FaceTime, whatnot. So that has helped. And otherwise, in terms of within the team, it's usually Skype that we use and Slack.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so Slack and everything that works out well for you. Awesome. That's
It
good.
works out well. Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. So now the next thought process that I would like you to share some insights on. Okay, you have your customers, you have your team, you are sitting in Kerala, you have your people living in USA and working from there. One of the things that you mentioned was that how did you build these partners? Just because you have people in US, but how do you convince them, right? I mean, this is such a these guys who are really good out there to bring in sales. They'll be in demand. So what is
Right.
that made them work with you?
It's not like we haven't tried multiple things. We tried doing this lead generation thing, right? So
Okay,
we tried
okay.
that. We tried with two Indian firms, did not work out.
Hmm.
We got some meetings set up, but they were not the kind of meetings that we wanted. We worked with a lead generation firm based out of the US. That did not work out either. I mean, I wouldn't say it did not work out at all, but there were lessons that we learned along the way. Right? And in the end, we realized that the best thing is to work with slightly, people who are doing this as a consulting business.
Okay.
So we offer kind of like there's kind of like a commission or share that goes out, right? And that's the incentive.
Interesting. Yeah, of course. They're working because they also need to make their money and but they like your product. They know that they can sell it, isn't it? Because it's
Right,
not just about the commission. Commissions or incentives only happen when the money hits the account.
right.
So you make sure that your product and service, the trust that they are putting in you is also not let down, isn't it?
Right.
That's important. Fantastic. Okay. So there's a question that is coming here that how do you? There's a lot of work. There's also a question written that from Thompson. I think did you answer this or not? Any ballpark figure to budget for this? Did you answer?
That part I haven't answered yet.
Okay.
Have a
So would you like to answer that about the budget? I mean, how much budget would you configure?
no. So we haven't actually set a budget.
Okay, you
I
haven't set
really
up.
don't
Okay,
have that
sorry,
number
sorry.
also.
Okay, okay.
I don't
You
have
don't
that number either.
have. All right. So we'll have to tell that. Sorry, mate. We can't answer that question for you. Apologies.
But once I find out, I'll let you know, Thompson, for sure.
Okay, and hey, listen, you got to do one thing, Sony. I mean, though it's out there, your LinkedIn profile and websites, everything is there, but you can actually share your contact details out here. Okay,
Sure.
that's absolutely not a problem. Okay, so now some of the things that we were talking about. What is a vision that you have, say, for your company, say 6 months to 1 year? Are there some other black swans or any challenges that may come in? Because one of the things, obviously, because you had an insight from your people in the US and you saw things, what was going on in Europe, you were preparing yourself better. But any green shoots or any challenges that you see in the future that you think as a founder you'll be careful about, and maybe the rest of the founders need to also be paying attention to it?
See, the COVID phase is still not over, right? We
Okay.
might have the vaccines, but for the economy to rebound, it's going to take time.
Okay.
So we all have to be conscious about that. Now, when we are actually working on our product or service, we have to keep this in mind in terms of the lead times that we might have to sign up a client, in terms of what kind of offers that we might have to roll to them, right? If it's a subscription model, it's probably not going to hurt them so much. Versus if you go with a different kind of any kind of a revenue model, right? So those are some things that we have to be cognizant of, and
Interesting. Sony, are you involved a lot in the sales process? I mean, though you have people in the US and all that kind of stuff,
I am very involved.
you are very
In fact, yeah, my partners are also quite involved in that.
So this is something that I always want to talk to founders.
So usually these consultants that we have, they open the doors for us.
Of course, of
But
course.
from then on, it's we walk through that
Yeah.
door.
So how important is a referral and opening of door kind of, I mean, because obviously your ticket size is very huge, but still. So how do you go about that?
Uh, I think it's what our experience has been, that it's very important. That initial introduction is quite important because everything at the end of the day works on trust. Right?
All right.
I mean, you could have, when people don't know you, I mean, they can look at 20 years of experience with IBM or AT&T, but that does not mean that we may be as successful when we run a company.
Okay.
Right. So that thing is still, it's still an unknown. Right. So when you have someone watching for them saying that, and today we have referral customers, so, and they're very happy to refer us.
Okay.
And so things have become easier now. When we talk to a new client, we say, why don't you talk to people who worked with us before? And they're always happy to give us referrals.
Okay, fantastic. So you talked about partners who open doors for you, and more importantly, the customers, because they're so very happy, they're extremely comfortable and willing to open up more doors for you, give some references, etc. And that, I think that's a very sweet spot that you're in, Sony. You and your team, congratulations on that. That's really wonderful.
Thank you. It takes a lot of trust
course.
building again. And at the end of the day, it's building that trust, right?
Yes.
And working more as partners rather than as a customer vendor kind of relationship.
Interesting. Awesome. So when do you guys ever fight, if ever?
We have difference of opinion within the team. We're talking about the founding team, right?
Yes,
We have a lot of difference of opinion, but at the end of the day, we all have the right objectives. Like, it's always for the same reason.
All right.
The path may be different.
Okay.
But then
interesting. So, Sonia, but one question that, I want to ask on behalf of the community, I want to be very clear on this. See, you're a AI, SaaS kind of organization, you're selling to the US, and that's the pathway you've taken.
Right.
But what is missing in India that we're not able to really say that, there are enough customers for you? What is it that we are not able to crack?
I wouldn't say that there are not enough customers in India. In fact, I think India is a large market. It's a very big market.
Okay.
The challenge that we have run into, and probably it's something that we just stayed away from that after that learning. Right, when we started off, we tried to sell analytics as a service to some of the institutions here, mostly in the retail side.
Okay.
The decision-taking time is too long. Right. So that actually can become a put-off after a point. Because when you do that when you spend that same amount of time in the US, things move much faster. Yes. So then you start questioning whether it's really worth because we have limited bandwidth. See, that's a key thing. When you are a startup, your bandwidth your resources, bandwidth, everything is limited.
Okay.
Would you want to spend that on a sales cycle that's going to take a long time? That's a question that we all have to take. And fortunately, the thing is, we had a strong US presence. The founding team is there, so it was easy. We could fly down and meet the client, because it's very important. Like, we had a client who actually flew us down for a week and spent time with us over a week to make sure that they could trust us. It's just that they would take us out for dinner every day.
Oh,
and,
okay.
and during the course of one of the meetings, he said, I wanted to look into the white of your eye and feel comfortable that I could trust you.
Okay, and now how do you do it over a video call or whatever? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's interesting, because now people know that you cannot travel, right?
Okay.
But then I think it's the amount of time. It's like you have to slowly build that trust.
Yes. So it's only one more thing that I want to talk to you about is, now you're saying, you've been saying about this trust, build the trust of the customer,
Right.
make them comfortable. That means a lot of your time is on relationship goodwill building. It's about giving testimonials of other customers who are happy with you. It's about also showing them that you are really capable. Okay, 18, 20 years with XYZ company has no value unless you can show your capability.
Okay.
So what is the amount of effort and preparation you do in just creating knowledge, creating that, crossing those borders? How do you do that?
I think the most important thing is when in that engagement with the customer happens, right? Even from most of the time, you will start with a POC, a small project.
Okay, of course.
But showing that you can add value when you do that POC, right? So listening to things that are said, things are probably not said, and learning the domain. So one of the key things that we tell the team members today, most of them are freshers, like the team that we have, we curated them. They're with us for 3 years now, but we tell them when you're working on a problem, we want you to understand what you're trying to solve. Why is it that the customer is asking you to do a certain thing? Because unless you know why you're doing something, you're just going to do something technically, and anyone can do it, right? Uh, User experience is paramount. It's very important. The value that you add is very important. These are two things. Once you do those two things, the trust automatically comes in, right?
Okay.
And the fact that you can deliver and meet commitments, that adds to it.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. So you do small POCs, you give a commitment, you match up to that commitment, and then they trust you. Then they're willing to give you bigger orders, and they're taking a risk on you also, right? Because you
Right.
should.
And but again, the key thing, like I said, we try to learn the domain.
Hmm.
Right. We spend enormous amount of time to making sure that we understand that domain.
Okay. So which are the key domains right now that you're getting from Sony as of now?
See, as a company right now, the products that we're building is mostly in the financial sector
Financial sector.
for
Okay.
bankings, because we have domain experience within the advisory team.
Hmm.
But when we were building products for our clients, one of our key clients is in the social media side.
Okay.
Social media is a very nascent thing, so
Okay.
we can all master it. But then, when you work as a partner with your client, they also have that interest, because they also want you to succeed.
Okay, that's an important one. Right? They want you to succeed. I just love that statement. That's very motivational, isn't it? When your partner, your customer says that, boss, we want you to make lots of money, so that we that's
Success doesn't mean money will follow, right? I mean, as long as the other things, you do the other things right.
okay.
Doing the small things right is probably the most important thing.
Fantastic.
Take care of the small things, and then the big things will take care of itself. And money it will follow.
Okay. So I know, Sony, you have been talking a lot about US, and we give a small glimpse into India. But what happens to the other large blocks? You have the MENA GCC block. You have
Right.
the ASEAN block of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and all that, right?
So we had two clients in Australia at one point.
Of course.
Right.
Okay.
One of them came through my brother, who is actually based in Australia.
All right.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Sure.
then that was a one-off thing.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But with GCC, we have a strategic partner that we are working with. We know that we don't know the geography, we don't know how to do business there, but we know someone who has a business, and he runs a business consulting firm.
Okay.
And what we do is we fill in as a technology partner for him.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
that's a partnership that works well. We would have signed up our client in Middle East had it not been for COVID.
Yeah. Of course.
But those things will happen. So we are comfortable with that. Similarly, in Europe, we are actually working with. So 2 years ago, KSUM had done a trip to Madrid. There's an event called DES.
Okay.
And we went there and we met up with a person who's based out of Madrid. So we are working with them. We know that some of these things take time, and we are willing to invest in that. So we still have those conversations going. We know that sometimes things might take 12 months, 18 months, or even 24 months.
Sure. Understood. So I think the key word that you used there was KSUM. So for those who don't know, the audience, Kerala Startup Mission, wonderful bunch of folks, Nasif, Arun, Ashok, all these guys, people. I'm a mentor there, and I've had the privilege of course, knowing Sony and so many other wonderful people because of my trips to Trivandrum and Cochin. And let's talk about that, right? The ecosystem. You
Sure.
talk to a lot of other founders. Maybe they're not in the same space that you are in, but when you travel or you'll go to come together as a community, etc. So, what are the conversations happening there, Sony? And what are some of the challenges that you're facing or they're talking about? If you could just share some of these things.
Sure. So in terms of see, most of the interactions, the ecosystem arranges a lot of events. They arrange before COVID was there. They had all these delegations and trips that they arrange. They also arrange a lot of educational sessions. There are a lot of interactions with potential. There are investor meets they arrange. There are meetings with people who want to partner. Which is the 1 second.
We need to go to the door. No worries. So I'll cover up for you, Sony. Don't worry. So guys, what he's talking about, say, like what happens in Karnataka as well, right? We have the Elevate programs, we have the startup cell, Kerala Startup Mission. I've been part of some of their delegations when they had invited me to interact with the startups. So do not ignore the ecosystem and the community. Okay. Just to give a quick shout out, I think Jagat from Vidphone, thank you so much again, buddy, for setting up these platforms and helping out. You're a TiE member. So TiE Bangalore is working on this IoT matrix where we're trying to bring in as many startups together. We're trying to bring in people from the hardware IoT field, and it's so incredible that there are opportunities, there are challenges, but let's catch up and talk about that because we have Sony back with us. Thank you, Sony.
Yeah.
No, I was just telling them,
Part of the challenge of staying in a hospital, they did not heed my instruction. I told them not to disturb me for an hour, but
that's all right, all right. So, Sony, you are also taking care of yourself because of your health. I mean, you want I think your knee you were explaining, right?
right.
Okay, awesome. So this is the thing, isn't it? Too many times founders, and I'm sure this might be, you have a family, you have friends, you have a social life, you need to stay fit. So how does this harmony of balance, and when do you know you got to take a small break and stay calm, stay cool, and figure out that you're in it for the long term? What do you do about that?
I think I haven't been doing a great job at that.
No,
That's
no,
why I ended up here. But
my friend, none of us do it, right? Please, so
right,
I agreed with you. But isn't it important?
it's very important. And one of the things that probably during COVID time that a lot of people had an opportunity to do was, since there was nothing else you could do, people started walking, people started cycling, people started doing all those things which otherwise you probably wouldn't have done, right? Because you would spend a lot of time commuting to work, and then you end up sitting in the office till evening. So
Okay.
in a way, COVID has rebooted a lot of us, taught us to also value other things.
Awesome. So, sorry, now I want to ask you this, right? So, okay, you said Kerala Startup Mission, you went for
Right.
some of these delegations, you got the delegations, but how do you prepare? There are thousands and thousands of startups like you. Okay,
Right.
I'm just giving an example, right? But you come into the limelight, even the ecosystem and community and other people are supporting you. How do you prepare yourself when okay, it could be virtual, it could be physical, okay? So try not to the distinguish between that. But there is preparatory work that has to be done when you're meeting a corporate or investor or whatever it is, correct?
Right.
How do you do it? How do you make things, prepare, how do you make it really good for you?
No, I think, we haven't done anything different other than making sure that we communicated our vision correctly, right? Whether you're meeting with an investor, the key thing they want to know is, okay, what's your vision? And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, right?
Okay.
That's the key thing they want to know.
Okay.
And we have to have that plan. We have to have that high level plan. We also need to have that detailed plan on how we will get there. That's as far as the investor community goes, right? And they are very keen to know about your sales pipeline, all those wonderful things that they always ask.
So
If it's about, right.
Yes.
And if it's about clients, then what they are very keen to know about is, if we have done something similar, right? Because that's when they don't know you, the only thing they can look for is a reference. So you have to have some case studies.
How do you do that? Okay.
So that's where we thought initially, before we go and meet total strangers as clients, work with people we know, build something, get that reference, so that when we go tomorrow in front of an entirely foreign crowd or people who don't know us, it's those references that we can piggyback on.
Interesting.
Right.
Yeah. And it's so
that
important.
Stories that we can.
And when they get in touch with those references, it better be something nice that they say about you, isn't it?
That's where you have to make sure you work with them closely. And
yes. And this is something that I would really like to emphasize on, Sony, for everyone. I think I love the words that you very clearly illustrated it. That trust and reputation is so important. Don't disregard it or don't take it for granted. Is something that I would really like to tell the founders.
And and once, just because you bagged a customer and did a project for them, never forget them, right?
Yeah.
Always, because the easiest thing to do is get repeat business.
Yeah.
Finding new clients and doing things it's much tougher, right?
Yeah.
You have to prove yourself. It's again a start from scratch. You can the opportunity, the upsell opportunity with existing clients is so much. You can get references from them. You can get repeat work from them. They might have more ideas once you start working with them.
Okay.
Right. So even with a customer, there are different sides to it. The first thing is establishing your credibility. So, building what you set out to do. The second phase of it is when you start adding value.
Okay.
So all the engagements we had initially has been like, okay, they give a requirement, we meet it. But the next phase is when we start adding value. Based on the experience that we have had with other clients, we will start suggesting, by the way, we could do this. There are these things we have done.
Okay.
That leads to upsell opportunities. That leads to that product actually maturing. Right? Or they probably thinking of revenue streams that they didn't know was possible.
Awesome. And this is the real meaning of sales, isn't it? You upsell, you show value, you give the vision very beautifully, and then they stay with
It takes time though, and we have to invest in that, the initial stages of the company, right?
It's very interesting, because I'll tell you something, Sony. Like you, I've also been working for many, many years. I'm an old man, and and I've come from like industries like hospitality, retail, co-working spaces, and very tough businesses. Okay, very, very tough. And I was in operations and sales because you have to bring in the customers and then take care of them. You can't say, okay, this person will take care of it, and then you disappear. No, you bring in the customers and you have to look after those customers, and those customers will tell you other customers. So
Right.
and it takes time. It does take time. And I keep reading about SaaS sales, and they say, you got to think about 3 months, 6 months to be ready. So how do you build your patience levels, Sony? Isn't that important?
Patience levels are very important. Like the Europe sec that we are working with, it's been more than 24 months, but we know that it will happen. It takes time. But some of those things, you will allocate only so much bandwidth, right? Because you're not spending a lot of bandwidth, and at some stage you have to realize where you have to spend your bandwidth also, right? And that's probably where, and coming back to a question that you asked earlier, why did we not focus too much on the Indian market? We did initially, but it was taking a lot of time, and there was a lot of POCs that we did which was not converting to a sale. And after a point, we had to evaluate, right, whether we should continue to do that or.
Understood. So Sony, I'm just getting Jagat online. He's the co-founder. He's a founder, by the way, of the man behind the Vidphone platform. So
Yes.
he's also a salesman. But let's see what he has to say.
Hi, Jagat.
Yes, there he is. Hey, Jagat, what's up?
Very good evening, Vijetha and Sony. How are you?
Good, Vijay. Good, Jagat. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks a lot for spending your time here. Lots to learn.
He's in fact, Sony is actually taking some treatment in Ayurvedic hospital, and the last few weeks we have been trying to get him online. And thank you so much, Sony, for despite all your schedules and health and well-being and sales, etc., you're coming with us. Thank you.
Actually, this has given me more time once I checked in here.
All right, so. Awesome, good. So Jagat, I'm sure you have heard in the conversation, it's all about sales, how tough it is. And I know, look, man, I know Jagat, how you hustle as well, right? You're in a different league altogether. But is there some things that you would like to talk to Sony about? Please, over to you guys now.
Well, I think maybe Sony can go first. He's the guest, so shoot. I'm happy to engage.
See, he has the Vidphone, and it's a video sales and video mail and a lot of competition also, of course, whether we like it or not. So what do you think, Sony, that Jagat can do? I'll put that spotlight on you.
Great. So I think probably one of the things that we would like to know is the Indian customer. How do we decode that, right? See, one of the another reason, Vijetha, is that though I am based here, I have not worked much here, right? I spent a lot of my career in the US, and I've dealt mostly with clients abroad. I think it's fair to say that I've not worked or did service to any Indian customer so far, right? So that sales process is, I don't know, Jagat, I would like to know more about that.
Yeah. That's a $1 billion question. What you're asking. Look, and I think Vijetha and I have had this conversation, right? This is about look at the per capita of India and look at what's the spending power. And I believe that it's almost like this Hindi saying, Jaise Praja Vaise Raja. It's like the people, so the businesses. And but I think things are changing. Look, I have done some very interesting enterprise projects with companies like Danfoss, Underwriters Laboratories here in India, Customer Wakefield, Rentokil Initial. So these international companies who came to India and they set up probably 2012, 13 when they established, we did a lot of very interesting kind of turnkey GTM kind of products for them. It's all specific to their thing. And of course, they were good customers. They know what they want. These are companies that are over 200, 250 years old. And it's wonderful for us as a company to have that, when we started. So I think it's a question of time. I think now slowly, I'm optimistic that India is going to kind of break away in the next 1 or 2 years as an economy. I think they're going to really explode. But it really depends on, I think, entrepreneurs, right? I think it really depends today on entrepreneurs. How are we setting the pace for innovation and the economy? And once that overall, we move from our 2,000 USD per capita to maybe 25,000 USD, where US is about 65, 70,000, then I think we can look at something that makes sense for enterprise play, for businesses. But I think still there is, look at the products that are doing well. Obviously, e-commerce, there's a domestic market where I think the consumers are shopping like crazy. There's no doubt about it. We're probably amongst, maybe not China, but definitely we're going there. And one thing that I just want to announce also, and I've been saying this, yes, we have been doing video conferencing for a while, and we didn't expect COVID, but looks like video is the way to go. But conferencing probably is not the answer. People, there's already so much of fatigue. People are just on meetings all the time, nothing gets done. So we are launching vMail. I think video mail is going to be very exciting. It's what I call asynchronous video messaging. Gives you the benefit of email, where you're not in real time and you don't need to be, with that person synchronously. But you can actually send an asynchronous video message. Gives you the benefit of video, where I can see you, trust you, build that rapport, but also being able to reply at my convenient time. And that's something that we find is going to be very important, because you need a balancing act. We've gone a full thing into full-fledged, two-way video, and I don't think it really has increased kind of revenues the way it should. So it's work in progress, but I think definitely multiple exposures, as you know well, Sony, probably 6, 7, 10 exposures with that customer is critical. And the big question now is, how are we going to do that today? Before you used to meet them at, they would come to the office, you go to their office, you made a coffee shop,
Right.
bar. What happens here? So now we need to have video conference rooms, my office, your office, bar, or different formats. So I think it's work in progress, but I think it's a big leveler. I look at this as a great leveler.
Right.
It puts, for example, I was also doing some work around video KYC early in the year, when the Supreme Court just, kind of allowed that. And that's another area, similar to the lending and in the fintech space. I think India is really poised. We need such kind of things, because if you want to reach that last mile, and not only the consumers, but the businesses in the last mile also, you cannot keep traveling there. You need high quality video. I think, hopefully with some support and right innovation, I think we should be there.
Very interesting.
Very nice, very nice. I mean, it's a tough world, right, Jagat, and Sony. But whatever happens, as entrepreneurs, you all guys should succeed, and you all should employ.
Vijetha, this. I mean, I've told this before, right? I mean, look, why we do what we do is because I don't think life should be so tough. We call ourselves the most advanced civilization of all time, and look at us. It's quite disappointing. And that show, I mean, there's some big gap, and that gap has to do with basically, I think, a sense of value for people's time today. Social networking, and now Zoom or Meets or Teams, or even Richmond to some extent. It's eating up into people's time and life. Before, they had a lot of time to invest in themselves and get better. Today, we have become this general knowledge book, all of us. We know everything about what's happening on WhatsApp. And I think that's affecting us. We are missing out on true work.
Oh, interesting. There's a word that people have been talking about, which I don't really share too much. It's called self-exploitation. Like too many times, entrepreneurs and founders, they're really killing themselves. They're working too hard, and you got to be careful, right? You should not burn out because you're responsible for your family, to yourself, to your friends, to your, whatever your other well-wishers and everything, right? I mean, this is. I mean, I look. I do read about these articles about how the burnouts and mental stress is killing the lives of many founders and entrepreneurs. But it's a life that you've chosen, so this is how it is. What does one do?
Right.
The hustle can never stop, right, Sony and Jagat? That's what matters. Okay. So, Jagat and Sony, the other thing that I want to ask you is that, I mean, of course, like Kerala Startup Mission and Karnataka, the startup cell, the government of Karnataka, KTech, TASCOM, TiE, the chapter. Okay, Nirmal, by the way, who's there in TiE, Kerala, and the people here in TiE, Bangalore, wonderful people trying to do their best. It is not enough. Okay. We might be only touching maybe 5 or 10% of the community and whatever it is. But how do innovation clusters get built? How do founders work together, right? Sony is talking about referrals, he's talking about getting partners on board and all, right? But somehow, what are the ways that we can bridge this gap, Sony? This is something that really troubles me a lot, and I don't know the answers. But what can you guys come together and do? Let's leave me out of this picture. Together, what can you guys do to grow each other up?
I think I probably may not be the right person to answer this, but I'll take a stab either.
Please
Right.
do.
I've seen within the ecosystem a lot of WhatsApp groups getting formed in between, mainly for people to collaborate. And when there's an opportunity where you probably cannot do it yourself, find like a partner and go about doing that, right? Because as a startup, everyone is stretched. Now, I think the ecosystem can do a lot of things, and they are doing that to a large extent. Like sometimes when a client comes in, or there's a delegation that comes in, they bring people with all those skills to the table, right? But afterwards, I think everyone is trying to work for themselves, and that's probably because even the startups are not. I mean, I'm not sure how much everyone knows about each other and what they can do. And there's always that people transcend and do other things also. Like just because someone is working only on one space doesn't mean that they cannot do the other things. So there's always that conflict of interest. So I really don't have the answer, Vijetha. I mean, I would just be making some sort of a wild guess, right?
Yeah. See, because for example, right, you have Kerala Startup Mission doing so much of work, and here in Bangalore, apart from TiE, then Nesna, from Startup Karnataka, it's not enough, right? But then what can found, like like people tell me about Israel, they talk to me about Silicon Valley, whatever, that innovation clusters are being built because academia and the corporates, the accelerators, they're all coming together, and somehow they're supporting and making things happen. Right, you are responsible. If I'm, say, for example, like someone who's working in a corporate world running an accelerator also has certain deliverables, right? You can't
Right.
bleed to just support the community. But what are we missing, guys? That's the kind of thing I'm saying, right? I mean, how do you make people want to do this because there is, for whatever reason, there is benefits and advantages? Can you guys? I mean, you have seen the world, Sony. You have traveled so extensively, and you keep talking to people. You have an accelerator that is you're in US because of your partners and supporters, correct? So how did that happen, and what can we do in India?
See, but again, the accelerator there is a very focused accelerator, right? Their job is to get most of get the startups to get access to funding, get access to quality connects. They are not doing anything beyond that. So again, I'm not sure if that accelerator's model is exactly what we are looking to address here, right? If you're looking about academia and that kind of an ecosystem, or like Israel has, I think it's a lot of it is probably outside the purview of the entrepreneurs, is my honest feel, right?
Yeah.
Because entrepreneurs at the end of the day, they are struggling to stay. I mean, at least in with what's going on in the world right now, it's just a survival phase. They wouldn't have time for anything else. That's the truth.
Okay. Of
Just,
course.
I'd like to add, Vijetha, just a couple of points. And I've always, I think one is, there are 2 points that I think. I think already one, as I've said before, TiE, NASSCOM, Kerala Startup Mission, Startup Karnataka, I think their mandate, I think they are all doing as much as they can today. I think, of course, you know better, Vijetha, I mean, because obviously you're part of TiE. But I think they're all out there. I've been part of NASSCOM, I'm part of TiE, I'm in touch with people in Startup Karnataka as well. It's good. I think end of the day, entrepreneurship is about the entrepreneur. And I really believe in this, right? And entrepreneurship is something that it is not employment. I don't think you can have 50% of our population being entrepreneurs. You will only have 1, 2, 3%, 5% max, But you can have solopreneurs, freelancers, and that way. So I think the number will be small. It's more important to have quality. I think that's very important. Today, I feel there is an excess of, everyone starting. And sometimes I think that's maybe not a good thing, right? Because it dilutes the ecosystem a little bit. I feel everyone assumes that you have started last year. I've been, running the business, and of course, I've run 4 different businesses over 10 years. So I pretty much started in 2010 when the ecosystem in India I think, started. If you compare it to Valley, their ecosystem probably started in the 70s. So they have about 40 years lead time compared to us. And, that perfection, I think, requires the hand of time. I think slowly you are seeing that evolve. But 2 points I think entrepreneurs should really focus on. I think in my view, it's my personal view, and people may disagree. Number one is to, I think in India, there is a heavy tilt towards sales-oriented businesses getting funded. I think that's not the spirit of innovation. Typically, and I think that's where Valley is very different. They invest on idea innovation, and that's number one. Is that you have to be research-oriented. Like just to give an example of Bitphone, I saw that there was a small issue. I think your internet went today, but we started this in 2016. We built India's first video chat app before Google Duo. Nobody told us to build video chat. There was no technology available for us to build it. We are outsiders in this ecosystem. And 16 to today, we are still on that pursuit of just high quality video without download. So it's just research, and that's I think important. We should be research minded, because look at the startups in the Valley, right? Look at look at Google, right? Google is by it's off a PhD thesis. It's got stuff, it's like really deep backrub and PageRank, and you look at Zuckerberg, Harvard. I think that's important. This is technology. This is not distribution of retail or something like that. So innovation, and the second I think is a celebration of failure. India has to, for example, my first business, social commerce in 2010, as everyone imagines, a massive failure. Then I ran an agency, did a lot of good work. Then video chat, then Google Duo came and this thing came, and now we built, browser-based video conferencing. And a few months later, you have Google with Meet and Microsoft Teams doing the same thing. So I would not say that we have won any of these, but I think we have become stronger and we have won. So I think, and celebrate that failure, right? Don't be hard on yourself when you fail. And as an entrepreneur, you can fail, I think, 8 out of 10. You will fail 8 out of 10 times, but you need that 1 or 2 times to win. That will make up for that. So that mindset is important. I think these 2 things, if we can probably think, maybe it will, we probably have a good foundation.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, thank you so much, Jagat. I think what matters is don't stop the hustle. One has to somehow figure it out, right? That's the thing that matters, Sony and Jagat, and let's not stop the battle of life to grow and to do well. Okay, so let me. I think it's 6:28, so we got to kind of slowly wind this up. And thank you, Jagat, for joining us as well, my friend. All right.
Thanks, Sony. Thank you.
Nice meeting you, Jagat.
And just to let you know, he's been giving this platform. We've been like the community has come together. You're the 28th guest, or rather, you're featuring in the 28th episode of League of Extraordinary Startups. And your insights are very measured, very calm, and very, very true. So thank you for being very, very kind to us, Sony and Jagat, of course. And we also have something called a Startup Sunday. I think 7 episodes that we have done where we bring in a couple of founders, just talking about challenges they're facing, and it's an informal boardroom, kind of concept, Sony.
Okay.
They talk about their challenges, and can the audience and the other founders come together and think of ways that they can, not about I want funding or I want more customers. How can you do this? What are the ways that you can move forward? How can you market or brand yourself better? As you said, building the trust, the relationship, the goodwill. How to do it? We talk more about the hows rather than I want. Okay.
I think that's very important, and that's very useful as well, Vijetha. Those are the things that entrepreneurs can actually do to help each other,
Yes.
more than trying to win a sale and things like that. Because if you do those things right, you can do the sale yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. The knowledge, the insights, the courage to do it is very, very important. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. And
Thanks, Vijetha. I think you have thanked both of us. I need to thank you
oh,
because you are the ideal partner to any episodes of LxS. Then we're doing Startup Sunday.
yeah.
These I hope it has value for the ecosystem. I hope people are learning something, and we'll keep it going.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
And
The Vijetha is everywhere. He's actually
Thank
with Kerala Startup Mission. He's with TiE. He pings. He's incredible. Thank you so much, Vijetha.
Omnipresent.
Oh, no,
Yeah, he's
no, no, no.
omnipresent.
No, we should try to do it. That's all you should try to do, my friend. That's all you should try to do. Okay, but thanks, Jagat. Thanks, buddy. And I hope you also enjoyed this conversation. So, Sony, it's 6:30. So I know that it's. What time do you have your dinner, or do they not give you dinner also?
No, they will.
Sorry, yeah.
But today I don't. I mean,
okay.
3 days I don't get anything. I just get some rice soup or something.
My God, amazing, man. And I pray for you, and I hope you can get back to your Kerala food and the proper Kerala food very soon. And I mean, it's so amazing, isn't it? So, Sony, what else would you like to share? I mean, it's a freewheeling conversation, right? So,
Right.
something that you feel as a message to founders, to your customers, to your team, and because it's being recorded, it's on YouTube and Facebook Live. So, you would like to give a message of, please.
I think probably the most underrated thing is taking care of small things.
Okay.
Make sure that you do those small things. If we can do something better, anything that you're doing today, if there's a way to do it better, invest in that.
Okay.
That will make your clients happier.
Okay.
That's going to make your, whether it's a services client or whether it's your end user, right? So you always look at user experience. How do you add value? These are the two things you need to focus on.
Fantastic.
In fact, the rules are very simple. Do the small things, and the big things will take care of itself.
Awesome. I like this. I like the way you're saying it. Take care of the small things, take care of the details. The big things will sort out, but don't miss the nitty-gritties, right? You have to be careful about that. Beautiful. And your team, what would you like to tell the team in terms of the wonderful work that they're doing publicly?
Yeah, man, it's been an incredible team. We are able to do a lot of these things because of the team.
Yeah.
They've been amazing.
Okay.
And
good. So what is Minerva? I mean, Minerva. How did that name come out?
Right, that's a very interesting.
Now I'm asking you now, but still, I should ask you.
Yeah. So, when it was started by me and Geeta, right? So,
okay.
Menerva is the Etruscan goddess of wisdom.
Oh, yeah.
So we are in the data space, and we deal with knowledge and so on. Okay. So we thought that's also part of women empowerment.
Okay.
So why not have like a goddess of wisdom as the name of the company?
Beautiful.
Because
wisdom, and this is from a man who doesn't read, but you can synthesize knowledge.
Yeah, I can synthesize knowledge, because when the name was suggested by Geeta, I had no doubts in picking that up.
In fact, this is very interesting, okay? And I think I want to share this to the audience, because I read a lot, because I know it's important. I used to not study much when I was in school or college or whatever, but now I am voracious in terms of trying to understand how the world works, okay, and how things work. I'm not a technology person, but this is something for everyone. So they say, right, if you read something that is of value to you, the self-awareness that this is of value to you is very critical.
Mm-hmm.
It's very critical that it's not just that you've taken it, but value comes when you use it. Otherwise, it's just lying on your bookshelf, or it's just lying on your laptop, or it's just one more forward that has come to you from on email or WhatsApp. And then the synthesizing of this information to understand what's it all about, and to utilize it in the right manner, in the right place, in a very ethical manner, that's the real key thing, Sony. So I think I think I got to take a separate session from you to understand how do you synthesize and use this value for knowledge, whatever.
I do fast reading, so I can get to the crux of a thing when I read. Probably that's, I don't know. It's
a skill set.
I feel
it's a skill set, by the way.
And one other thing that I missed, which we tell the team all the time is, you should think of technology as an enabler.
Okay.
It's not the solution.
All right.
Right. Okay. There is always a trend of by most of the everyone, mostly people who are technical, to sell technology.
Okay.
The focus should be to sell value,
Alrighty.
and technology is just the enabler to that. As long as you're clear on that, you will listen to your customers more, because you should not be trying to do a technology solution, right? I mean, technology is the means to get there, to solve that problem for them.
Okay.
Don't get too hung up on the latest and greatest technologies. They're all cool, but if it doesn't solve the problem, it's useless, no matter how cool it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're saying that it's very important to solve the problem. It has to have value, and you have to use technology as an enabler to get things done.
Right.
Right. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. And how much attention do you guys pay to UI UX, the user experience and other things?
A lot.
Okay.
Right. So that is actually, we pay a lot of attention to that. Because user experience, probably not in the first version of the product, because you have to make sure the functionality is there. Without functionality, but there is always a fine balance there also, that you have a pretty reasonably good user experience. But once that first cut of the product is out, then it's all about user experience. Even with the internal products that we are building, we keep asking, is your experience great, or what can you do differently?
Okay, beautiful. Amazing, man. Sony, we can keep talking. I can keep picking your brains, but that's not fair to you. And
No, that's fine.
but I mean, thank you, man. You've been very, very kind, very useful resources and insights, Sony. Please enjoy your time in the hospital. Not exactly a hospital; it's Ayurvedic treatment.
It's a resort kind of place.
It's a resort place. And guys, this is what Kerala is all about, huh? By the way, all this, and India has got so much to offer, isn't it?
So you can even work from a hospital, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It
Amazing.
still will be WFH.
I got this, buddy. And look, do well in life, Sony. I want to see you growing. I love what you say, man. I just have a lot of respect for you. I mean, you know that, obviously. That's why I've been chasing you for months now. Say, like,
I know, and you've been very persistent, Vijetha. I mean, I have to hand off.
Sales, you understand? This is also sales, isn't it? One has to be persistent.
And to all the audience, right? If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll share my email.
Yeah.
And you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well.
Yes.
I'll be happy to answer things that I know. Things that I don't know, I'll try to find out.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not promising everything. I just know what I know.
Correct. Awesome, man. Awesome. So, I mean, that's so important, right? What you don't know, you can try to find out, or you can point them to the right direction.
That's one good thing about, some things you learn in the US, right? You don't show, or you try to say that you know everything.
Okay.
I think it's easier to say that, okay, I know this, but I'm not very.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Vijetha, for this opportunity. Enjoyed doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care, and have a wonderful Saturday evening and a Sunday as well tomorrow, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.